Forging a successful career path begins from your foundation, a foundation of quality and professional education. It is a weapon of transformation and a passport to the future. HIPMAT's credibility and years of training thousands of professionals in HND, BTech, BSc, and MBA in the schools of Business and Management Sciences, Engineering and Education, with remarkable mentorship from the University of Bamenda for the BTech and MBA and the University of Boya for the BSc program, is second to none. From committed professors and lecturers in classrooms to numerous academic field trips, internships, and workshops, HIPMAT will reform and guide you towards your success. Admissions are now open in our Boya and Douala campuses. Join us. Together, we will build a legacy.
HIPMAT is what it is today because of its excellent and competent teachers.
You choosing HIPMAT will be the perfect place to gain that professionalism that you need to further your educational career.
The Higher Institute of Business Management and Technology, the University Institute for Professionals.
Good evening, televiewers. KUMBA is morning. The Southwest region is morning. Cameroon is morning. The world at large is morning, following the sad incident that occurred in KUMBA last Saturday, leaving the students, dead in one of KUMBA's secondary schools. We are this day going to be looking at the reactions so far from political, civil society, as well as the international community react to the killings that has so far received lots and lots of condemnation. We are going to equally be looking for a way out so that we do not witness another such incident in any of our towns or cities in the Southwest and Northwest regions. We are going to be discussing this evening with our panelists who are seated already. Dr. Nick Ngwanyam is a politician. He is in the house. He is a social entrepreneur. We are glad to have you this evening.
Thank you. It's so unfortunate that we are here on a sad note today. It's very unfortunate.
Your touch. Having worked with children in school for so long, I imagine what went through your mind that day.
Yeah, when you see a thing like that, to actually feel the pain, put yourself in the shoes of the parent. You know, imagine that is one of your own kids that you love at home very much, and put him there and see his head blown off. Then you know what they feel.
Also with us in the program is Ba Akwen. She is one of the vice presidents of the PCRN party, in charge of the ladies in the diaspora. We are glad to have you.
Good evening to all my co-panelists here tonight. I send a special greetings to the immediate families of the KUMBA attack on Saturday. And we in the PCRN, we see end the Anglophone crisis.
Okay, that is the call making rounds on social media and mainstream media. We also are in the company of Far Elvis Tayong, all the way from Boya. We're glad to have you.
Thanks very much. Greetings to Kalingo, my good friend in KUMBA, watching us right away. And also greetings to most of those we met in KUMBA from Friday, Saturday, when the incident occurred, till Sunday, when I left KUMBA. And I said, well, it's happened. And the most important point for us is to hit the nail where it's supposed to be, address the root cause, and forget about the issues of politicizing and probably making mere statements day in, day out without attacking the root cause of the problem. Thank you.
We also are in the company of Feka Pashibel. She is the founder and CEO of Hope for Vulnerable Orphans. We're glad to have you.
Thank you, and good evening to my dear panelists. It is indeed a very sad day. I usually would have been smiling, but like a mother, that smile isn't coming forth. And I think we are here to state the way out And I want each and every one of us to stop the blame game and try to come up with measures on how we have to put this crisis. To me, it's an evil crisis. How we have to put it to an end. Thank you.
Okay, we are also going to be receiving Andrin Atemibako very shortly, as well as Honorable Tabard Lawson, all the way from Kumba. He's going to be joining us in the course of this program. He should be tied in traffic. We also, in the course of this program, are going to be listening to the Senior Divisional Officer for Meme Division, Chamberlain Tondong. He's going to be telling us the situation as we speak in Kumba, and also reacting to allegations that he had a hand in what happened at that school. Good evening to you, Atem, and welcome.
Thank you very much, Mr. Leo, and thank all the other panelists on board this evening, and thank all the viewers of my media hour. Thank you very much.
How do we understand what happened in Kumba, Dr. Nick?
What happened in Kumba is very sad, but it's not surprising.
Okay.
Because when you sow a seed, there will be a harvest.
Mm-hmm.
When you sow a seed, there will be a harvest. And what seed are we talking about? We are talking about the seed of this violence. You know, when violence starts, it can go in any direction, and anything can happen anytime, and you will not be surprised. So you can only be very certain that you can sleep and close your eyes when you have dealt with what, you know, the underlying causes of the violence or what is causing the anger. Now, this war has been going on for 4 years, and if, you know, when the major national dialogue came up, everybody was very hopeful that that was the beginning of the end. But because the major national dialogue did not face the truth squarely, we missed a huge opportunity there. Though we've been talking about it and then making politics about it, it has not been an effective tool to actually solve our problems. Technically, what would have solved these problems and put everything to rest would have been a truthful and inclusive dialogue done in love. But what we had didn't pass for a true inclusive dialogue. And that's why we are where we are today. So for all the problems we had, we need a dialogue which lays the framework for correcting ourselves and doing things properly. You see, that's why we now, after what we had, which we called a dialogue, which was not, we've been trying to make other things, programs work, and things have not been working because that foundation is not right. Then, of course, you have people, you have people from the diaspora that have been asking children to be killed for going to school. I remember when things just started, I think it was Chris Ano or telling that children should be killed, 50 in the northwest, 40 in the south, something like that. And thereafter, there is Eric Tato who says, Gary children, cut their hands so that they know that I'm serious, and so on. Then at the end of the day, when something happens like that, he knows it's very gruesome and it's not very nice. He's the first to come out to say, look, we didn't want it. But again, there was something, how do I put this? That was a seed that he has sown a long time ago. Mm-hmm. And when you sow the seed, when the word has gone out there, you know, you cannot keep flip-flopping. People will do it and say, Eric Tato asked us to kill. Eric Tato asked us to Gary people. So that is the message. Those people, some of those children who are out there, they just go ahead and kill in your name. So you cannot say that you are not responsible. You see, so it's a seed that we have sown. And then, you know, either way, the government has issues, the AMBA has issues, and this is all the spirit of death, audacious, and all whatnot.
Okay. Back when, can we today say that there is a motive that would justify what happened in Kumba on Saturday?
Mr. Kum, I will tell you there is no motive for what happened in Kumba, because we are talking about children. Mm-hmm. We are talking about the education of our children, and these children are the future leaders of tomorrow. There is no reason for this dangerous act or for this act that is condemned by all. I think it is a fight. It is an economic fight, because those that are animating this fight, they have their economic gain from this. Because from the both side, I can tell you with all facility that we have people from the government and people from the other hand who are the masters behind this, and they do not want these things to end. But at the end, who suffers? It is our children. Children who are supposed to be protected. Children who are supposed to, because going to school is a right. It's a fundamental right for kids to go to school. It is not something that we are supposed to debate on. So, Mr. Kum, I will tell you, there is no reason whatsoever for this act, that barbaric act, if I should say, that was carried out or meted on our little children, innocent children who are not politicians. But politicians will use their economic battle or their political battle to experiment on our kids who did nothing wrong. Children of 9 years, children of 15 years, children who aspired being what these people are fighting. These people that are fighting, they aspire to be presidents. They aspire to be politicians. But yet, we refuse them their fundamental right. There is no reason whatsoever. No reason justifies this, Mr. Komliona.
Far Evis Tayon, can we say that politicians are using these children as political pawns?
I would say yes, and a very big yes. The incident happened when I was in Kumba. I left the area 30 minutes after with innocent youth. And just at the moment we were arriving opposite the main market, they were calling us that something is behind. I said, is it like I brought this issue? What is happening? And we rushed back to the same area. Now, what we have to understand here is that we must call a spade a spade. People have been gallivanting with water in their mouths. I spoke when we were on board with you, Innocent, as the first media person who arrived on the scene. The first media persons in Kumba who arrived on that scene. And many colleagues, I started seeing them on social media, and people come. I said, no. And that's why I praised the state media for the first time in a program I listened to on Sunday. I talked about unidentified gunmen. I've told journalists, you don't conclude that because the issue is complex now. I've been sorry to say that I said clearly, where we are, I've been able to carry out an analysis of the issue. This issue in Kumba was carried by serial killers, experts. It was not like those who are still, because the children are now tell you that some men came, the way they came and the way they left. Now, what was in my mind? Kiliwindi, there is a military post there. Entrance to that town. Mabanda, there's a military place. Kosala, we have a military base placed there. Marwan, there's a military base. And then when these guys finished their deal, they went through a Kiliwindi. The question now is, with this military base placed in all these areas, how did they come in and how did they go out? The one of the chat we made, they were saying that some people in military, I said you can only say that people in military attire because you cannot confirm whether it's military or it's amber. I say this because I hear people gallivanting every day. We are now in a complex issue where there's propaganda. An amber can wear military dress, carry out a killing. A military can dress like amber, like the lady who was touching Bamela the other day and dropped in mud. At the end of it, we had two versions. Some said it was military. Others said it was amber. We are now in a phase where two camps are carrying out propaganda. So when I see people concluding, when Garbu incident occurred, the government was the first to say that it was amber. Now, let me tell people something they are not understanding. I said serial killers. I don't need to know those who are because it's the wrong thing. Whether it's serial or non-serial, that's not, my issue is wrong in killing those children. If you look at the system in which Garbu incident took place, Pinyin, the way the massacre took place, that's in cold blood. You look at the way the Batibo Guzang massacre took place. You look at the way in which the Kumba issue took place. You understand it was carried by Syria, it's carried out by Syria killers. Now, in my analysis, without moving further to know whether who did or that, I've been pointing who could be involved. I look on the other side. They might have metamorphosized. They might have. But I know in their issue, their common characteristic I saw when I'm studying was that they can easily pick you up, take you to somewhere as their characteristics. When you are blackmailed or something, torture you there, probably kill you there. That's their characteristics they have. But the characteristics of storming somewhere and shooting at random, I have not seen as their characteristics. Maybe.
They're talking about who?
Now I'm talking about the separatists, okay. Separatist fighters, amber fighters. As I said, maybe it's a new tactic because in war, people change all the time. I could be a military, I perform like an amber. I could be amber, I perform like military. It's complex. When I see media persons stay on, because this issue, it is until investigations established beyond reasonable doubt. It is complex now to conclude that it is amber. It is difficult to conclude that it is military. It is difficult. That's what I see. So, just wrapping up, Mr. Kum, the main issue, as I said, is that politicians took it over. While I was in Kumba, an announcement was made, sent to authorities within less than 5 hours. And they said people should come out at 2 o'clock. They were to start at Town Green, to start marching and saying, blah, blah, blah. I looked at the issue. What was wrong with it? I looked at the messages and the result of their marching. It did not tell me that these people are willing for this case to come to an end. Because all was counter accusation. I did not see people generally saying that, as though I am CPDM, the government should put an end to this thing by resolving the crisis. I have not seen that. What CPDM people have done is that they have hijacked the issue and they start telling you that, no, Amber is this, no, this area is that. No, killing has been done. Must we sit and start playing the blame game that Amber, Yam done? If you are a bona fide CPDM militant in Kumba, listen to me well. The march you took on Sunday was a null and void march. Because if you were sincere, that you took that to do your propaganda and your advertisement of CPDM not wanting peace, it's not so.
Yeah,
it's not an issue of party. It's not an issue of party. It is an issue of everybody.
Yeah, I thought I saw a message from the paramount chief of the Baforce calling on the population of Kumba to come out. I don't know where.
Mr. Leonard, I want to tell you I was in Kumba. That march was masterminded by ruling party. Okay. That's why I said that it's an error. We should leave party policy aside and mastermind it as Cameroonians. Calling on the government to put an end, not taking different caps as CPDM, because we'll be getting the issues out of control.
Okay, Pashibel, you run a foundation, an organization for vulnerable orphans. You still should be in shock from what happened in Kumba. Have you called back the people in Kumba to find out what went wrong?
Just like we've been hearing, I had to do a few calls, and some schools of thought have it that the proprietress of the school was called and asked to pay some ransom.
Okay.
Which she said she didn't have money because children had not even paid their fees. And before they knew it, these unidentified people came to school and killed those children. The difficult part is nobody knows who did the act. But my worry and concern is why innocent children? Why innocent children? What is their business with what is going on? Remember, I'm also a teacher. And if we want to talk education, the Anglophone crisis is 4 years old. Education has been suspended. We are into the 5th year where our children have not gone to school, the 5th academic year. I do not understand why they have to deprive these children of their fundamental basic human rights, which is the right to education. What kind of future are we preparing for our children? People are afraid to talk. Fear has been instilled in people. They may even have seen the people, but they are afraid to say that they saw this person because they don't want to die. We get threatened every day. Personally, as a humanitarian worker, I have received several threats. The last one I got 2 days ago. While I was on my live on Facebook, somebody was inbox threatening me. And like I said, my sisters were killed, murdered in broad daylight. Did they talk to them? They did not. I have the platform to talk. I will talk. I have my voice. I will talk. We should stop the blame game.
Who killed your sister? You don't know also?
The non-state armed group killed the lady I'm talking about. I have my worker. Last year, 15th of June, one of my volunteers' leg was cut off by the non-state armed group. So I can conveniently accuse them with proofs. She does not have a right leg today because we're running a homeschooling program in the Southwest region. We're running a homeschooling program. So I have every right to accuse them. So it's not strange. We have videos where Eric Tato is giving orders. Any child who goes to school, cut off the finger. No, don't cut off the finger, cut off the hand. What sort of nonsense is that? Like I said, I am personally angry with my brothers of the English-speaking regions of Cameroon, especially with the diasporans, because they opened the door to this madness. I relate with them closely because we share the same roots. We are from the same regions. If they had not started the maiming, if they had not started the kidnapping, if they had not started carrying out these atrocities on us, strangers wouldn't have had the courage to come and do what they are doing. Because at the end of the day, they'll tell you it's fake amber. Which one is fake amber? Which one is real amber? Fake or real amber, I don't care. The madness has to stop.
Okay. Andrin Atemi Bako, you Kumba is your hometown. You sleep in Douala. You still very concerned for the future of other children because it happened on Saturday. It may still happen, eh?
Mr. Leo, what I would say to start with to all Cameroonians and especially those in the English-speaking regions in Cameroon is that, you see, when people do not master their history very well, they seem to start creating some kind of groups or some kind of, how will I put it, some kind of religion where people begin to believe that they are either Anglophones and they are different from Francophones. To start with, Cameroon was not even colonized by the French nor the British. Cameroon was colonized by the Germans. So that simply means that we all have a common ancestry. But what I want to say here, Mr. Leo, is that what has happened in Kumba, it has been a very shocking one. I think that whoever is behind this has crossed the limit. And I think that this is a time where an end to all this madness must come. Because when people feel that and think that they have monopoly over life and they can decide who should live and who should die, I think that such a time like this, when you see evil coming into broad daylight and begin to manifest, I think that we are almost reaching the end judgment where this thing must come to an end. If we should not also forget the fact that when they decided, some group of the separatist fighters decided that school should resume with certain conditions, that the national anthem should not be sung and the flag should not be put up. Do not forget also that there was another party of the separatist fighter that refused. That means that within them, there was already a confusion for the school resumption. Let us not forget about this. And we also understand that the separatist movement is a very divided movement. It is not a revolution. It is not a movement. It is an occultic, it's occultism. That is the way I look at it, whereby men have sat in to stay in power, to prosper themselves, to have fame at the expense of children and youths of those two regions. So this is not about leadership. This is not about revolution. This is not about federation. This is not about independence. I already see that this is about selling out the future and the destiny of a region. That is the way I look at it. Whereby some few men feel that they are custodians. They have monopoly. They can sit and sell out sell out the destiny of their people. So this is what I'm saying, Mr. Leo, is that the way I have observed, analyzed this issue is that there is a major disagreement between the separatist fighters, whereby one camp may still decide to sabotage the ones that said that school should resume. Likewise, also, those who said that the school should resume may not have said it out of good conscience, could also do that just to sabotage the other one. So we should not forget that there's also an in-house fighting among the separatist fighters. And we have seen that, looking at if we want to analyze this thing critically, even without having substantial evidences to show the people who are actually behind this, but all indications to start with from day one, who were the people who decided that there should be school boycott. They are the separatist fighters. Okay. These are not the government. So, Mr. Leo, to end it with, I think that going to the street to march is not enough. Going to the street to protest is not enough. I think that is a time whereby we need to take an absolute decision on what will be the outcome of these people. We have seen them on social media. I'm not saying that they have done this, but we have seen videos and testimonies of people threatening, if you should go to school, what will happen to you?
What is trending now is the blame game. This faction says it is you. We see separatist activists accusing each other. This one says what you did yesterday was wrong. This one says you did it. This one says no. Government says it is the separatist. Separatist says it's government. Very, very difficult. I wonder.
Yes, just like our brother was saying, you see, just before school started, everybody agreed that children should go to school. And even the faction of the separatists who said children should go to school, they gave a condition. You understand? If there is security, it's already living room so that whatever happens, they will say, we told you. They will be, and just something they were saying, go to school, but at the same time holding back. It's like they say in Pidgin, you sell a goat and you hang onto the rope or something like that. You don't do it. It was not genuine. So what is happening, we are not surprised about it, because when the separatists say go to school, they were not genuine. And then when you say go to school, don't go to, for instance, they said don't go to the government schools, so to speak. Then, was this a government school? This place where the children were killed, was that a government school? So there's a lot where, like our brother was saying, once you are dealing with Odeshi or the devil, everything can go. And we can see is the devilish spirit that's all over the whole place. And, evil, Satan is really evil. Satan is evil. And this thing is just pure evil.
Yes, but how do we understand that instead of looking at the fact that children have been killed, so that we mourn, each faction is trading blame at the other?
They're trading blame because if we look at the history, there have been acts of violence along for the past 4 years, and on the ground, when there was something, someone would claim it to give themselves some sense of power, that we are able to do this. You understand? Like when Sonara got burnt, though that had nothing to do with the war, but you could see they were saying, "Oh, we did it," and they were clapping them to give the impression that they have the power to do it, the capacity to do it, and therefore give themselves some kind of a standing, so to speak. But the violence started to take a turn. When Madame Ayafa was killed, in the first minute, they claimed responsibility. Then when they realized that there was a lot of negative energy coming from the world about it, they cooked up something to deny it. You see that? So usually they would do something and then find out, is this something for which you can take credit and feel good about it? But when they see that the condemnations are very strong, they back out. And this time around, the killing of the children is like you've crossed the boundary. You've crossed the boundary. And everybody who has been making a lot of noise out there, including Eric Tato and Tapang, all of them, they now realize that this is going to take even their own heads. So they start trying to wash their hands in public like Pilate, with Eric Tato bringing some text messages and videos or what, saying it's coming from the SDO and so on, just trying to see how you can cook up something to stain some other person. And this is the point, because this one is so nasty. Watch me. You are going to pay the price. I don't know if you did it or you didn't do it, but somebody is going to answer some questions and he cannot just go away like that. So you see, they're now everybody is trying to kind of like watch himself in public because they know what is going to happen. You see, the American government is kind of like just quiet now. Don't think you are in security. When the Cameroon government reacts the right way and starts having good governance and having the proper dialogue and putting everything in place like the international community has asked, they will come for you.
Okay. We are going over to KUMBA to listen to the senior divisional officer from Meme. Tell us what the situation is like in KUMBA today.
Let me say the situation is stable. Situation is stable. We have now, as you all know, 7 of our children who lost their life. The remaining are there in the custody of our hospitals, taking care of them under the full responsibility of the state. You know, let me just say openly here. I am trying to read what people are saying to the social media, saying that the SEO has a communication with I don't know who. All those allegations are completely fake. And I am going to seize this opportunity to tell them that if you are joking with the blood of innocent children, even Almighty God is going to punish you one way or another. They cannot joke with the truth. They cannot joke with the life of innocent children. The SGO of Mimi, I know that they want to hide their crime, taking lies, fake messages, fake things. We are not concerned by that. I took like commitment, yes, me and my collaborators, to arrest all the perpetrators of those atrocities within the main division. They can trust me. They can say what they want. I will not relent in the effort. Yes, I will effort to arrest all of them.
Are there any measures you are taking so that schools can effectively go, so that children will not be afraid to go to school?
The truth is that, you know, at the local level, the population, they know really the truth. Because I am on one of the oldest SDU position in the whole Southwest. I was here since the beginning of the crisis, and I continue to date to be now in the main division. Let me tell you that all those manipulations to the social media are there. Let me tell you that the population, they know the truth, and they know that they have confidence to the administration. They know that the administration will be permanently in their side, taking care of them, and they will continue to send back their children to school. In the other vein, let me try to advise those who are there abroad, testing fake messages, those who are there abroad, talking rubbish. They are there safe with their own children, and they are the one committed crime here in Mimi Division. One day, they can trust me. You know, all party God will punish them. And the administration will permanently continue to follow them, to warn them, till all of them have been arrested.
Some people say that even the administration, including you, the SDO, respect goes down on Monday. We are seeing you in the office. Can you tell the public where are you?
I think that you saw me just from the meeting, the weekly security meeting. We are working. You know, some people are feeling very happy to blackmail their own villages, their own country. I don't know what they are earning beyond. And when we went to dig deeper, all of them, they look like they don't know what they are doing. Our expectation from them is to bring money in KUMBA, to come and construct our beloved division, and not to send gun, cartridges, to give tramadol, to give munitions to innocent children, innocent boys, to come and kill students in the various schools. But they know, yes, in their heart. They know in their mind that what they are saying is fake. But they should know that contributing, supporting what happened in the North division, one day, the truth should prevail. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that was the senior divisional officer for Mehmet Division. Quite a difficult times for him. I'm sure he's not rested since this incident occurred in Mehmet. But Akwen, you've glanced through international reactions. What do you make of it? United Nations, African Union.
Well, Mr. Kumliona, I will tell you, the international voices, they denounce it. Mm-hmm. They denounced this terrible attack on our children. Mm-hmm. But I will tell you, I hold them responsible too, because they are harboring this brain behind all this. Because normally we know where these guys are. They're on social media everywhere. Their houses are known in these European countries. But yet they keep staying there like there is nothing wrong. So I will hold accountable these international powers who do nothing. But at the end of the day, they come and sympathize. And what else? Like the Ngabo crisis, like what happened? People came out, they spoke, there was a blame game. At the end of the day, no resolutions were being taken. So, Mr. Kum, I will tell you, rather than playing the blame game issue, we should rather table out resolutions to better quench this problem, because we will keep blaming each other. At the end of the day, this crisis will not stop. We are parents, we lost our children. These guys, they are there, their children are going to school. Their children are being schooled, they celebrate their children, but they deny the underprivileged children who have nowhere to run to Yaoundé or to Douala to go to school, and they deny them education. So I tell you, Mr. Kumliona, these international powers are to be blamed. And on the other hand, I hold responsible to the government. Who is the government? Mr. Biya, because he's the sole guarantor of the security of Cameroonians. We do not elect these Amber boys. We do not elect them. We elected, or we went on poll to elect Mr. Biya. So if anything is going wrong, we should ask him, Mr. Biya, what is going wrong? Are you no longer in control of your country? Are you no longer the man in power? Normally in other countries, you're going to see when something like this happens, he will get up, go to the scene, sympathize with the families. But he has done nothing. But we can see on the other hand, they call him who? On appelle quoi? Le porte-parole. He came out and started blaming the Ambazonians. That is not necessary. At this point, at this juncture, it is not necessary. We need to look for solutions. And us in the CPNRU, we have brought out some solutions to help stop this Anglophone crisis, because the blame game is taking us to nowhere. It will continue. It will continue. And we ask Mr. Biya, where is your power? Where is your power? Are you no longer alive? Are you no longer in control of your country? We do not know the Ambazonians. We know you as our leader. We know you as the sole guarantor of peace, of the safety of Cameroonians. But we think that you're failing us. You're failing us. We want you to declare a state of emergency. Article 9 of the Constitution permits you to declare this state of emergency, because Cameroon is at the verge. We are at the very delicate period of our history. We are at a very delicate period of our history. Lives are being tampered with like nothing is wrong. People are dying.
Yeah. Your take on the international community's reaction. Do you think they will go further than just the mere condemnations that we've seen so far?
Talking about the issue of international community, I think that they failed not just because they are harboring people who are part of the problem we have, but they failed because they failed to act in time as it is supposed to be. Because we talk about United Nations, African Union, they are supposed to be that kind of body whereby if a country gets to a point where the country cannot control cannot man its problems, you intervene and assist. Like we see what ECOWAS is doing all the time with the countries found at the West African area here. But now in the case of with them, we see them come to Yaoundé several times. They have branches in Yaoundé. They have offices in Yaoundé. And so at the end, I don't want to rely on them. They are not very credible as per se. But then there's one thing I want to interject here based on the issues in KUMBA. Now, Professor Maurice Kamto has been crying and even refused going for election, which people are still saying, not seeing it, that end the war in the Northwest and the Southwest. That is that one. Now, we realized here that, like what Dr. Nick said, that is the fallout of the refusal of the regime to call a spade and call a shot where it's supposed to be called. Now, I would be equally, just like what the person is saying, where is the head of state? You cannot have this kind of issue at the head of state in an helicopter, cannot fly there immediately. We're talking about school, primary, secondary. Where are the ministers of basic education and secondary? Listen. Let us stop gallivanting in the bush.
They'll be going to KUMBA on high instruction.
Mr. Kum, let me come in. This is not time for a minister to wait around for high instruction. Lives are at stake. You don't wait for high instruction to come before you go. Are you a minister or not? Listen, I have the impression we are politicizing this issue. We should tell Yaoundé regime to call the spade a spade. That is why some people even suspect, because when people say they think government is there, I am not saying the government is there, but sometimes begin to doubt, because why is that issue very warm? This is an issue that requires the head of state to be present in KUMBA within the next 1 hour. It's just a plane, China helicopter, you'll be there. I am surprised that while Minister Mewale Nesadi is talking, I have not got an official communique, even from the ministers of basic and secondary. Something is wrong in this country. Are we going to take politics and say, the head of state has said, must you wait for the head of state if you are a competent minister? I know the minister of Technology will be going to KUMBA, will be in KUMBA tomorrow, yes. But how many days? On Saturday, Tuesday, minister is going. Is life a matter of urgency? This country is not serious. You don't take people's lives and you play politics and think we should pamper you. No. That's why I said that. Yaoundé, listen to me very well. CRN tells you, I tell you as a bona fide Cameroonian, that you have acted very wrong. And to you, I see an invitation somewhere in Gabon where they have invited the head of state. There are emergencies. The other time Notre Dame got burnt in France. I say within 45 minutes, condolence was already sent in France. Where are we? There in Cameroon. Minister of Secondary Education, basic. Children are killed when we want schools to resume. You post it in Yaoundé air conditioned offices. And you say the head of state has said, Mr. Tangaji is going there, but on Tuesday, Saturday, the whole day nothing. Sunday nothing. Monday today nothing. It is Tuesday they are going. Let me tell people something here. I think that something is wrong in this country, Mr. Liu. We will have to call a spade because something is wrong and they're not telling us something. If the people's lives and blood could be taken for granted, I think that Yaoundé should not be the first to take that.
Do you think like he says, the reaction from government is somehow lukewarm? He is saying that ministers were supposed to have gone to KUMBA the same day or the day after. Yes, but here we are talking about ministers of secondary and basic education, but we are talking about children. I'm sure there are other ministries that should also go down there.
Of course, all what he says is true, and I want to tell the government that it is the government's moral responsibility to put an end to this crisis. Before we start looking at international bodies, I want to call on Cameroon's government to call for a ceasefire immediately. It is their moral responsibility. If we continue to look at the lives lost, then I think my government is a disgrace. The Minister of Secondary Education, I'm personally so disappointed in her, because before these children's death, teachers have died, teachers have been killed. They wrote the GCE in Bamenda. The day they were writing computer studies, teachers were kidnapped who were going to invigilate the GCE. So many things have been happening with the educational system, personnel being attacked on a daily basis, and the ministers are not able to say a word. What, therefore, is their role as ministers in these ministries? As for the Minister of Women's Empowerment, I don't even know if she even knows her function, because women have been tortured, humiliated, abused. Women have seen all the gruesome things you can imagine. She has never, ever said a word. And then we cannot go to be blaming the international bodies, because if we do not tell them all is not well, they will never come in. We give them the impression that all is well. If we keep lying to ourselves, we will not get the solutions that we want. I think from this moment onward, every Cameroonian has to be true to his or herself. We have to learn to call a spade a spade. We have to learn to face our demon because we brought it upon us. The government brought the demon upon us. The Amazonian fighters brought the demons upon us. The military and the Amazonian fighters have all done their worst. They have done their worst, and it is our moral responsibilities as Cameroonian and as women, and I'm calling on every woman. We have to rise up. Our men have failed us. We gave them the upper hand. They went to the dialogue. How many women were there? How many women were invited to the so-called national dialogue? We have respected them traditionally because this is a patriarchal country. We have respected them as tradition demands. They have failed us. It is left for us as women to rise up and take over this country and see if we will not get the necessary results. As for the international bodies and foreign countries, we strongly condemn. We strongly condemn. So what? So what? America has sent its message. We strongly condemn. Are these activists not in America? Has the American law changed on terrorism? What stops them from going into their country and meeting these boys and telling them, this is what you have done? It is punishable. I hear terrorism, instigation, and what is 10 years imprisonment in the US. What stops them from carrying out that action against them? Same to those in Europe. Why would they be harboring people who will be instigating people back home to kill us? And then, these so-called professional military, please, they should leave. They should carry their guns. The military, the AMBA, carry your guns out of our regions and let us be. We are tired. We've had enough. We don't want it anymore.
Okay, Mr. Kuma, like your program, but let me tell you, they should leave the SDO alone. Okay? He knows, okay, he knows nothing about what they are saying. Please stop calling. I can't read messages because, Andrin Atemibako. Now, do you think that there is need for a thorough investigation like the case was with Ngarbu to establish concretely who is responsible for what?
Well, it is not only to carry out an investigation on who is responsible, because we have seen other cases where we got to know the persons who were responsible and nothing was done. So I don't think that is really the essential part of what has really happened. Now, you know, there will be times where we may be powerless to injustice, but there must never be a time when we fail to protest. The government is not the administration, or it's not Mr. Bia. The government is us. To go to the international community, I think that the Cameroonians should be wise enough to understand, copy from other similar African countries that we've seen thousands and millions of Africans that were being killed, and the United Nations stood by and only watched, because it's only been to their interest that the more Africans or Africa is being destabilized and depopulated, they have an upper edge over us. And that has been the same strategy that the government is also using in the Anglophone crisis, knowing that population is strength. So the more the people are being depopulated and being destabilized, it gives them upper hand to take grip of that region. So it's just a normal strategy that anybody would apply. But at the end of the day, the government is us, and we must be able to, like I said the last time, Mr. Leo, we need to stand behind Cameroonians when Cameroonians have problems. We don't need to sit down and fold our hands and think that because it is not our children that are being killed. So the way I look at it, you remember in early 2017 or 2018, the government sent about 15 warrants of arrest to specific individuals in the diaspora. We know that these people are there, and we also understand that there have been negotiations like Cameroon that has been sold. A lot of people are expecting the government to do something, but forgetting to understand that we are still in a colony, or we are still a neo-colonial country, whereby we don't have that political power to make certain decisions that favors our own people. That's why I keep saying that it's a system which denies its own people. So when you live in that kind of system, you come to realize that your only hope and your only future is when you start relying on yourself and start coming together and make decisions to make your own life better in that country where you have been. Because United Nations will never enter here as long as France has been in Cameroon and has interest in Cameroon. United Nations will stay up because we don't have any seat at the level of the UN National Security Council. They have 5 members, but we don't have any African a country at that level to defend this continent. So we have to understand that at that level, even we are being victimized. So as far as I'm concerned, as a Pan-Africanist, the United Nations should be tried, should be taken to court, and for all the human violation that they have seen and sat down and watched and allow people to be killed like what you are seeing today in Cameroon. They cannot come in. So let us not expect the United Nations. What I'm saying here is that, Mr. Leo, what has happened in Cameroon, whether it is a government in place or it is a separatist fighters, I am only saying that this is a time where Cameroonians, we need to come together as one people in order for us to gain our sovereignty and put an end to this mess that is happening, because Mr. Biya cannot do it. His hands are tied. He knows that this situation from the onset, he knows that the Western nations are behind what is happening in the North and South. We see them out there negotiating the sales of the land of the Northwest and Southwest at the detriment of the people that are living there, to keep them up there. So it's the same thing the government knew from the beginning, that Cameroon was sold. We are not strange about that. Okay. So at the end of the day, Mr. Leo, Cameroon is for Cameroonians. For you, I'm not going down to the history.
We are talking about investigations.
That is why I'm saying that, Mr. Leo, investigation will not take us anywhere, because we have seen other cases and people assume even responsibility, and what was done? Nothing was done. I'm saying that
Ngabu proved something now.
What did he prove? Was anybody brought to justice?
No, Ngabu proved that the military was involved, and they have been tried. They have been taken before the military tribunal.
Well, Mr. Leo, all I'm saying is that this one that has happened in Kumba, I believe that the line has been crossed. It is a time where Cameroonians should be able to assume responsibility and decide their own future. And make a decision on this matter. If it's going to take the entire population to go out and protest for a change, even sleep on the street, will not return back home for this thing to come to an end, that is the direction that Cameroonians should be going to. Because we will not allow and see how these regions and the future of these children are being mortgaged for nothing, and we are expecting to have a future tomorrow.
Now, Dr. Nick, I want us to come back to the reaction of the government. You are someone who talks a lot about leadership. How would you describe the leadership from the Cameroon government, the presidency, away from the presidency, but the president also has close collaborators who are ministers and who are appointed to engage in solving immediate actions? Do we need to wait for the president to tell us what to do in times like what happened in Kumba?
Not exactly. I will take some time off to explain what is going on and how it ought to be. But before I go into that, I would just like to correct something that Mr. Ateba was saying there, to say that some Western countries have bought the Northwest and Southwest. It's not true. When we put that, then it just confuses everybody. But let's start here. We have problems in Cameroon, and we are the ones to solve our problems. It's not like we don't have people who understand the problems and who can bring solutions to the problems. But, you know, it's very, very important. I don't know how to put this. It's very, very important that we understand the concept of truth and love. But before I go even into that, let me explain something from the spiritual basis. There are only 2 spirits in this world: the spirit of the devil and the spirit of God. And that means we have 2 kingdoms: the kingdoms of the devil or the darkness, and the kingdom of light. What you have to realize is that the Amber Boys and their supporters in the US and wherever, they are operating in the spirit of darkness with Odeshi. Then our government and all the people who are operating there too, they don't know God. So you have 2 sets of people who are functioning in darkness and don't have divine wisdom. And therefore, when you're dealing with the people, like, I don't expect any good. That is the bottom line. So we are saying that we've got to come to a place when we go on our knees and make God the CEO of this nation and realize that without God, we are going nowhere. And it's only the truth that sets free. As long as we keep turning around in circles, we are going nowhere. Now, let me give you an example you see. We all observed what happened with the Enam concours. The results were very, very funny. The funniest thing I've ever seen. But those results, as funny as they were signed by the minister, and even the prime minister could not correct a gross error like that. And if you take that as a yardstick and a measure, and take any other event that has been going in a country, you will see that whatever events have been going on have been carried out in like manner, and that's why the whole thing is crumbling. Our country is on fire. Our country is messed up. We have the president, like I've said before, the president has about 60 ministers who don't know what is supposed to be done. They don't know their job descriptions. They don't know how to solve problems. And they contribute in creating problems for people. The minister, when you're put a minister, it's not like you're the most intelligent fellow. Yeah. It's not like they're putting you because you have all the capacities to manage just for politics. But wise ones would use people who know how to solve the problems to help them solve the problems. I remember one of our ministers, one of my brothers, he was a minister of something, I don't know. He was put as a minister. 1 week afterwards, he was off somewhere in the east there. And instead of solving the problems of his ministry, he was already, and that was just after the presidential election. Just 1 week after the presidential election, he was saying people should be voting for the president. People fail to do what they are supposed to do and spend the whole time clapping for the president. The president he's old. He's tired of this. You are hand clapping. He doesn't put you there to be clapping hands. He puts you there to be solving problems. So in reality, the problems in this country are created by the ministers that the president has put because they are not doing the jobs for which he put them there. And therefore, the troubles come back, bypass the ministers and go right to the president again. And he cannot sleep. Right now, as I'm talking to you, he's very angry. He's very, very angry and pissed off. You have to understand that the human being is, why people behave the way they do. All human beings are not the same kind, so to speak, in character. Our president is someone, he's a very strict person, but he doesn't like coming to the forefront. He's always kind of like in the background, but he puts people there, prime minister and ministers, and say, oh, please do this job for me. But for some odd reason, they go turn around in circles. And in 2013, he observed that they suffer from inertia. They think only about themselves, and he condemned that. And everybody, the thing, he talked about it. It went in here and came out the other ear. And like Madam just noticed, children have been shot. Ministers are just sitting there. No one is saying anything. You don't care. No emotional intelligence. We're in a crazy setup. And this is what is going to happen. These problems will not be solved by international community because our government told the international community that there's no problem. So if you have already told the international community that there is no problem, the international community is very surprised that there's a problem. Because we had elections, we had this one, we had this, and then the story is there's no problem as long as you tell the international community. It's true that they have other people on the ground, but they listen to what the government is saying. If the government tells them there's no problem, they fold their hands and say, okay, there's no problem. But we have issues going on. So now, this is what is going to happen. This problem has to be solved and it's over. This is the last thing. And the new government will come up. Because this particular government doesn't have the brain or the intention to change it. The new government will come up and it will change it because it will be a new mindset. And from now, we will do it. It will be done as it's supposed to be done. Because I think people are tired. All this politics, please leave it. You can do whatever politics you want, but as long as people begin to suffer and children begin to die, enough is enough. And the problem is the government. You must do your job.
Okay, you must do your job. We get back to Kumba to have a summary of how the situation looks like after the senior divisional officer. Let's listen to Tamfu Sidwan paints the picture of the town today.
Mr. Leo, good evening panelists. You're welcome once more to Kumba Meme Division. Following Saturday's incident at Mother Francisca International College, Fiango, Kumba, you know that 6 students died and 8 were in critical health condition. Out of the 8 in critical health condition, 4 were evacuated to Motengene by Doctors Without Borders. And that evening, the senior divisional officer for Meme, Tundong Chamberlain, organized a press conference where he declared that the atrocious act was committed by separatist fighters known as the Ambazonia fighters, and that the Meme administration will fight back to ensure the eviction of Amba activities in the division. And that is exactly what the senior divisional officer for Meme, Tundong Chamberlain, told the population in the midst of the divisional officers of the various subdivisions in Meme division, the mayors, the city mayor, and other administrative and municipal authorities in the division. It should be noted that according to Tundong Chamberlain, these people committed the act in order to stop the school year, but he resolved that no matter the fight, the population of Kumba should mount courage to send their children to school and to ensure that the academic year does not collapse like others. And that is exactly what he stated. Now on Sunday, the SDO equally moved to the various hospitals to get abreast with the situation. He promised that the administration will take care of the mortuary bills of those who have died, and equally that the government is going to organize the funeral of students who lost their lives in that very gruesome act in Mother Francisca. Later on Sunday afternoon, the population of Kumba marched with placards denouncing the gruesome killings of students in that institution. They marched in the various streets, which was organized by the mayors in Kumba 1, Kumba 2, and Kumba 3, plus the city mayor. It should equally be noted that some elites have been condemning the act. Meanwhile, the population of Kumba has equally been condemning what transpired. Mr. Liu, you need to equally understand here that despite the calls by the administration to ensure that they mount courage to send children to school or to allow the students and people to enjoy their right to education, most parents in Kumba are already considering means or measures to send their children out of Meme division to continue school, because according to them, the security situation is quite porous. And you really need to know that according to the Meme SDO, these guys who attacked the school came from Mato. If it is true that they actually came from Mato, it means that the security is really porous. That is why the population of Kumba is considering measures to stop their children from going to schools in the municipality of Kumba, while some are struggling to send their children out of Kumba Meme division. We spoke to some of the families. They are quite discouraged. Some say it is better they have their children alive rather than sending them to school where they are going to be killed. Then I went to the school on several occasions ever since that incident transpired. It is very clear that the attack took place in Form 1 of the school, and some students equally attempted to escape by jumping from the story building, and this caused them to have some fractures, and they are currently receiving treatment in some hospitals around the region. Now, when the senior divisional officer for Meme was moving around the various health facilities to get abreast with what transpired, we equally got information that one of the students who was evacuated by Doctors Without Borders to Motengene gave up the ghost. And later in the evening, we equally get information, though unconfirmed, that one student was discovered lifeless at that institution, which shows he jumped and fell behind the school gate and was just discovered lifeless by the parents who have been looking for the child for 24 hours, Mr. Liu. Now, a ministerial delegation is expected to visit Kumba tomorrow to know what transpired. As it stands for now, nobody knows who actually committed the act, although the administration has already baptized it to have been committed by the Ambazonia fighters. This is just what the administration has been stating, but we are getting information that the separatists are equally denying that they were not responsible for the gruesome act at Mother Francisca International College here in the city of Kumba. Until tomorrow, when the ministerial delegation will arrive Kumba, before we know what next the Meme administration is going to say. But Tundong Chamberlain, the SDO, today stated to My Media Prime TV that he has nothing to do with the killing of those children, despite the fact that some people are stating that the administration knows better what transpired to these students.
Okay, thank you very much, Tamfu Siduan, filing in there from KUMBA. Now, Akwen, is this oh, she just left there now.
No, it's
No, Kangaroo man, please. I know how it's going. Please, yes, he will come from Akwen to you. Then, yes, please. Okay. Now, Akwen, let's get to the situation of schooling here. Is this going to be a very big setback to the children already who were enthusiastic, parents who were already sending their children in KUMBA and other parts of the Southwest region?
Mr. Kum, you know, we're in a very funny country. Cameroon is a very funny country. When I say funny, it means when you are not immediately involved, you do not feel the pain. I heard your correspondent who said the SDO, Mr. Tundon Chamberlain, he said parents should gather courage and send their children back to school. Normally, I say you're supposed to preach by actions. You're supposed to be an example. He should take his child wherever the child is, send to Bamenda or send to KUMBA. Let us see that he's really willing, or he's an example.
Who tells you that the children are not there?
His children cannot be there. That's the sure case. His children should be in Yaoundé or in Douala. If you are not the first victim, if you are not involved, you are not the first victim, you do not know how these parents feel. It is but a funny country to see that he has the impetus to say parents should gather courage and send their children back to school. I want children going to school. Also in the CPNR, we want children to go to school. But the fact is, there is insecurity in KUMBA. No parent will want to see his child dying because of education. Most parents will send their children out. It means the educational system or the educational environment in KUMBA has been tampered with. That's the true fact. We should speak truth. The Bible says the truth will set us free. When Cameroonians will start speaking truth to themselves, we will be liberated. I tell you, Mr. Kumliona, parents should not put the lives of their children in a very delicate situation. As your correspondent in KUMBA said, they found a child who fell from the building because he was afraid. It means the numbers of death keep increasing. The numbers of death keep increasing. And we call upon the population, cooperate with us. Because it is only the population that can liberate themselves. As my co-panelist said, both sides are evil. Both sides are negative. You cannot use a negative character both negative character cannot produce positive. No one is appealing the other one. So we, the population, are the people who are supposed to rise up and denounce and say, no, enough is enough, because they are playing ping pong on our children. We can see the Gabu crisis, as you said, yes, they were being sentenced to in prison. And so what? Maybe they have been given 5, 10 years. At the end of the day, they will leave and they will continue their lives. Those children are no longer there. Solutions should be proposed rather than accusations. Solutions should be proposed, and I think it is only the population who can rise up and denounce and say we are tired. It is only the population that can rise up and say we no longer want this. These political powers who are fighting for political interests, they should go to like a desert, measure their powers there. They should leave our zone. They should leave our KUMBA. KUMBA was a place known for education. Northwest and Southwest, they used to harbor great education. Their educational system was great. But today, it is no longer the same. And when education is being tampered with, it means the nation is being tampered with.
Far Evis Tayon, the political class has condemned these attacks. But what should the political class do beyond mere condemnations? Because they have seen this, the likes of Cabral Libi has made, today he granted a press conference in Yaoundé. Serge Espoir Matomba was in KUMBA yesterday. The SDF is calling for thorough investigation and for the authors to be brought to book. We keep hearing, but across the board, our national president, Professor Maurice Kamto, yesterday also tweeted on it. But should the politicians themselves not be doing more than they are just talking?
What can be done in the kangaroo system is simple. All political parties need to go to the street. I'm sorry when Professor Kamto wanted to go to the street, we've had a lot of heat from the administration. This is not time for people to sit and be watching. No. If today SDF rises up, the CM is joining SDF, this one is joining, and they come together and they take to the street, they would know that this matter is serious. But now at the point whereby each is victimizing the other, I want to think that more things are serious in the administrative errors we find. Immediately after that incident took place, SDO in Meme also made serious errors.
No, tell me about political parties.
What I think is that, excuse me, Salio, don't leave me out. I'm linking. It's a link. Okay. Politics is a link. You cannot hold me down at one place.
Go on.
Because we want the SDO to be given. No.
I want to talk about
what needs to be done. Excuse me. I will talk about myself. I'm coming.
Okay, go on.
When errors are on the ground, pinpoint the errors and say this is what you think can be done to cover the error. If you don't pinpoint the error, you will solve a problem above when there's water passing beneath the foundation, and one day it will crumble. So I think that in a nutshell, like from what we got from the SDO, errors were committed, which I'm coming to say what we think we can do to solve it. Because when the incident occurred, the first thing we were getting was the issue of a school started without giving us the agenda. No, you don't make those kind of errors. And the Minister of Communication also did that. Because these are the errors we're talking about that we need to solve. When you say a school authorized, a private school running for 3 years and above, you are saying that it means that the education authorities in that era, even you, the agent, did not do your job to know that a school is operating in that area in Fiango for 3 years without you knowing that you were supposed to have sent military. People as well was on the field, Mr. Leo. On the field on Friday, I was doing investigation on PTS that are not like in school. You find military only in government schools and they have no military in private schools. It's an error which was denied because we are helping the agent to sit up, because when you put military in government schools, you leave secondary schools. When there are secondary schools operating not under legality, but legality, something is wrong. So this is the issue we're talking about that we need to correct. That's why I see it linking with what the Minister of Communication was saying and accusing the schools, the said schools started without giving us their itinerary, else would have done something. So at the end of it, the idea of everything is under control is what the administration will tell us. Like you see them talking now, we have a short security. No. They should accept that there's a security challenge. They should accept. So that if it means deployment from Ngalemenduka or from Mora, it will be done. Now, what can be done, Mr. Leo? What can simply be done is that, point number one, the moment all administrators and political stakeholders begin speaking the truth, solution number one begins to come. The moment they start seeing it as the other way around to gain political favor, that's where error begins. Point number two, to solve this issue as we are saying on the ground, Mr. Leo, if these persons concerned, I'm talking about political parties, stakeholders, decide to keep aside their political caps and see it as an aspect that is a governance error. Because all what we're seeing here, we will not hide it. If Yaoundé administration was functioning 24/24, we will not have these things. But because the administration of Yaoundé is redundant, that's why they all sell after the market. That's where we are today. So I think that the moment we are able to come together as one, we talk about the right to protest, it's enshrined in the Constitution. We're not talking about the right to destroy. If everybody comes out as one and say no, on the streets, this thing has to end. I tell you, Yaoundé will sit and hold an emergency meeting and say, okay, what do we do? And then people can propose. This is what we're proposing, Mr. Liu.
Yeah, but on the streets, you are calling people to the streets. Is the problem not the reasons for going to the streets? The CRM ask people to go to the streets because they want to ask the President of the Republic, why can the political class not come together to say we want to create a coalition to end the war away from our political agendas?
Yeah, I also have a problem with the politicians,
including civil society.
The politicians in Cameroon. The politicians, once they are elected and they go up there, they forget where they come from. Before being a politician, you were somewhere. You worked with these people, you ate with them, you did everything together. The moment you're up there, it becomes their own thing. I want to attack the parliament of Cameroon. What stops the parliament for calling a session, a whole session on the Anglophone crisis? Forget about you being CPDM, forget about you being SDF, forget about you being whoever you are. You came from these regions. You cannot tell me that the horror going on in this region does not affect you. Keep your political differences aside and put your humanity to work. Call a session and address the situation. You are the ones who decide, they will make the law. What stops you from imposing a law and calling on government to follow that law? What happens to the senators? Why are they all quiet? They are all from these English-speaking regions. So I expected all of them, by this time, to have even led their people to the streets. I expected politicians in Cameroon to have led their people to the streets. They should have by now forgotten their political differences. It's a disgrace. It's a big disgrace. When I look at what happened in KUMBA, the first person that came to my mind was great-grandpa Chief Mukete. That is somebody who has lived the history of Cameroon. That is somebody who masters the history of Southern Cameroons and East Cameroon. And yet, such is happening. What are they doing? Let's forget our political differences. Civil society, we have to come together as one. The moment is now. I think we have hailed Nigeria a lot. We are like, oh, Nigeria is making news, Nigeria this, Nigeria that. If Nigeria was as divided as we are, they wouldn't have had the impact they are having. Let's kill the I thing. Let's kill the self-centeredness. Let's be focused. The Anglophone crisis, when it started, had a focus. But it got to a point where we lost focus. I do not know whether the Anglophone crisis is about secession anymore. I do not know whether the Anglophone crisis is against women, because we've seen how they have humiliated women. I do not know whether the Anglophone crisis is against education, because we have seen how they have held our children's education hostage to the point where they murder them for going to school. At the end of the day, I ask myself, what is the Anglophone crisis about? So if we had a focus, and the focus I am calling on us now, because we've had a reason to have a focus. Let us be focused. Let's look at this gruesome murder of our children and hold the government to task. It is the government's responsibility to put an end to the ongoing war. Like it or not, government should call for an immediate ceasefire. Okay. When government does that, every other thing would gradually fall in place.
Yeah, government should do that. Lots and lots of condemnations from across the globe, and Cameroon in particular. Politicians are talking, but we've heard very little from Anglophone politicians themselves, Anglophone elites, Anglophone traditional rulers, Anglophone mothers. We've not really heard a lot from them. What is happening, Andre?
Mr. Leo, this is a very complex situation that Cameroonians are still not wanting to admit the reality, not the facts. You see, it's a situation which has gone out of hands, that not even the government in question is capable of handling. No, yeah, not even the Anglophone politicians are capable of handling. Mr. Leo,
are their mouths sealed? Can they not
Mr.
just
declare? How long have they been talking? How long have they been chased? How long have they been kidnapped? How long have they been threatened? Tell me, what if they say now we make a change? Let us face certain facts and certain reality. The thing is that Cameroonians don't want to admit, to know that their problem can only be solved by themselves. Until they start coming to this reality, they are going nowhere. When I said that this country was sold, some people don't believe it. But it was about 106 years ago when they sat in Berlin, divided Africa as each man wills without the consent of the Africans, and put down a system of democracy and brought in their independence. We are talking of a country that does not own a currency, and you tell me that we have sovereignty? This country is sold. So I'm coming, Mr. Leo.
Yeah, but, okay.
Mr. Leo, please, I am coming down. So now you look at, for example, how do we break out of this after putting blame here and blame here and blame here? South Sudan, we saw 50,000 people died. America could not come in. United Nations could not come in because China and Russia had interest there. They were selling arms. They stood by. We saw Rwanda, 800,000 persons died. All I'm saying here is that you take a good look at what is happening today in Belarus. Cameroonians should not be told that we should go out under a certain political party to cause change in Cameroon. Cameroonians must themselves find a need to see that we have a common problem in Cameroon, because this is taking the future of where our country is going to be. It's going to be in 10 and 20 years to come. So this is a time where Cameroonians should take the right decision and say, no, we now find a common reason to bind us together.
Are you not contradicting yourself? I say, why are the elites, you say they are helpless? And how, if they are so helpless?
Mr. Leo, when I talk about the Cameroonians themselves, I'm not talking about the elites of the two regions. Northwest and Southwest is part of the body of Cameroon. I'm saying that we must find something that binds us together. The killing of these children should be a very good reason why people should set aside all their differences and mount together as one people and say, no, we do not only condemn this killing, but we have taken a decision that this has to end. Mr. Leo, what ousted Hosni Mubarak in Egypt, the people slept on the street day and night until change came into Egypt. In Mali, we saw population went out nationwide, not using a political party. I'm saying that Cameroonians should keep all those differences aside and understand that Cameroon, we have to define it, and we have to redefine all those things. We have to assume that the government is us, and we need to take to the streets and understand that whether the government likes it or not, or whether the separatist party likes it or not, Cameroonians are going to take their country and make a better policies.
My media prime is not calling people to take to the streets.
I am not saying people should go to the street for violence. I'm saying that people should stand up for their rights.
Dr. Nick Ngwanyam, I will stay with you on this elite. You are an elite from the Northwestern and Anglophone. You know yourselves very, very well. We have the likes of Dr. Simon Munzu, Barrister Agbo Bala, Akeremuna has he tweeted yesterday, and a host of others. Do you feel a greater burden on yourselves?
Well, elites are not made overnight, and then we have like they were saying in French, "ia elite, et elite." So those elites that are civil servants that depend on the government payroll. In fact, they are part of the problems. They're the ones who have made this Anglophone problem go out of hand. And they're the ones who have been telling lies to the president and not helping him to get the right solution. And they're the ones who fight even those ones who have a clear mind as to what should be done. And, they will say all sorts of things. And, lying has become their stock in trade. So it's very, very unfortunate. And when things happen like this, those very elites, they cannot talk because, you cannot be hot and cold at the same time. They will only condemn like anyone else. But they are the very ones who have been refusing to see the right solution put in place. They are the very ones who messed up the major national dialogue or contributed in messing it up so that truth never saw the light. So here we are talking about, it's about a fight between truth and lies, or light and darkness. If you are not the type who would face the truth irrespective of everything and go for it all the time, but if you're controlled by your stomach, you could be called an elite or anything. It's not worth very much.
Please, Mr. Leo, tell panelists who keep saying we should go out to take the lead and not sit in his or her comfort zone and keep saying we should go out. Elder is writing from KUMBA. The messages are just so many. I'm discouraged to read them. We Cameroon need to take our future into our hands. The old people don't want to leave power to the younger generation. Freedom is taken, not given. Pilo is also writing from KUMBA. This one says, Amber have their ways of doing things. The separatists always arrest. Okay. Kundang Elvis is writing from Banga Bakundu. Good evening To all the panelists, please, Cameroonians have only one solution to solve these problems, and that is national uprising. Till day we all, okay, Mondi is writing from KUMBA. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Unfortunately, fake sympathy is overshadowing the will to resolve the crisis. The government is obliged to guarantee the security of our children, owing that schools are still officially expected to continue. Ayim Prince, writing from Limbe. Good evening, heroes. The dreadful act that happened in KUMBA is a clear indication that some people in this country see others like flies, that you can just use your broom and kill as many as you can without any remorse. The maker is writing from Boya. Good evening to you. The maker, I am Mr. Ndikum from Akum. I wish to ask, where are the teachers and the administration of the school, and why were they not hurt only the innocent children? Mr. Ndikum, good evening to you. The government should be responsible for everything. You did not give your name, okay? Good evening. It's Kem Smith writing from Limbe. All Fako chiefs are only interested in what interests them, like selling lands. That, okay. Okay. Thanks for your programs. Children are the future. Allow them to go to school. This will end when the population rises. This is Dokenzo writing from KUMBA Town. This one says, please say the right like you have been doing, not joining the blame games. Okay, Vitalis is writing from Bamenda. Good evening. Sirs, may I know from Mr. Ebako how that his point of everyone coming out to demonstrate could be coordinated? It's a good idea but lacks coordination. Gideon is writing from Bamenda. Mr. Leo, good evening. I always enjoy my evening air following your. The most people are always saying the government should take off the military on the streets. If they know what population is going through in the hands of these boys, they won't say that. Bob is writing from KUMBA. Mr. Kum, how can you expect schools to function on a war zone? He who declared war should call for an end to the war. Teke is writing from Limbe. The Cameroon Parliament is the same as UN. Before they hold any sitting, they already know and been directed what to discuss and what not to discuss. Callistus is writing from Boya. Good evening, Mr. Liu, and to all the panels. We are crying. The question is for how long? Because people are in TV and social media for 4 years talking. No change. Okay. Any move like Dr. Nick and the Kangaroo Man. Okay. A date or day should be given in which we would use to sleep outside for the nonsense to stop. From Mama G. Okay, Mama G. This one says, I am very happy to this channel. May God bless you all. How can we faith without? Okay. I am Sam from KUMBA. Please, Mr. Liu, allow the panelists to air their ideas, for all of us are in pains for the kids. Is that not why I brought them here? No, my brother. That's why I brought them now. Okay, let us continue with the discussions. It's Dr. Nick, huh? Yes, you just spoke. Yeah. Yes, it's Dr. Nick. Yeah. No, Dr. Nick just spoke about the elites.
About elites, yeah.
Yes, you just spoke. You just spoke about the elites. Yeah. Yes. Is this incident not going to trigger something beyond what was happening already in the Southwest and Northwest region?
Mr. Kum, I'll tell you. Actually, it's going to cause a lot of war, a lot of tension, and us in the CPN as I will try to answer my co-panelist who said she holds accountable some of the parliamentarians. If you watched our press conference today, we brought out a solution. And one of the solutions were the president should organize an immediate conference on the Anglophone crisis and propositions should be made. So I think the CPNR, we are there to bring out solutions. Mr. Comleona, I will tell you, this will cause a lot of tension. It will cause a lot of trouble, and I think it will arise minds of Cameroonians that they should see that it is no longer the government or it is no longer the international powers who are supposed to solve our problems. It is us who is supposed to rise up, come out, denounce the ills of the underworld men, because I call them the underworld men, because they are no longer normal. If you have the heart to kill a 9-year-old child, it means you are no longer normal. I think this will cause a lot of awakening of minds. It's going to cause a lot of food for thought to so many people, especially those who have been looking at this issue as it does not concern me. So many countries are watching us. They are watching at the president. They are watching at the immediate actors of this. What are they saying? What will they do? They are doing nothing. It is left for the Cameroon population, the neutral body, to rise up, denounce like one person, one mouth, come out and cry. Deny, say enough is enough, because this has crossed the Rubicon line. We are tired. Cameroonians are tired. Our children are dying. The Ngabo crisis, they were arrested. What happened? Nothing. They keep accusing each other, blaming others. But at the end, no resolutions. The crisis keeps going. They said school will go on. But I will tell you, there will be no school in the Southwest. There will be no school. No parent will have the heart to send his child again. Put yourself in the place of those children, of the parents of those children. You would not have the heart to send your child to school in that zone.
Yeah, we hope that those who don't want school temper mercy with justice for children to go to school. Far Evis Tayong. Now, the situation that is happening in Cameroon, how do we read the reaction of the neighbors, immediate neighbors of Cameroon and the African Union?
That one is another trouble. If you rely on the African Union, it's a waste of time. Because the African Union is made up of bunch of dictators and people who don't have focus for the people they govern. African Union, to me, is no news. You cannot tell me that you run an African Union that cannot be independent on its own. How do you explain to me that African Union to monitor elections in other African countries, they take funding from the European Union? These guys are not serious. If you look at the other neighbors around, those in the CEMAC zone, so long as they are linked to French, to France, that one is no news. In a nutshell, Mr. Leo, when you see the Central African zone, for example, CEMAC area, look at these leaders. Who are they? How long have they been to power? Based on the same feather flock together. What do you expect them to do? African Union itself, look at those who are minding the African Union. So at the end of it, the change of this nation lies in the hands of the people. Mr. Leo, if you see things moving like this, they are falling apart. When ministers don't even know what to do, they get confused even. In fact, they are confused in their own day. Women affairs don't know that this thing concerns girl children, who are the majority hurt there and killed. Who is supposed to come out? Social affairs has not even made a move to say, what do we do? These are vulnerable children. My God. In a nutshell, Mr. Leo, the only thing we can do is that hoping on African Union, which is already, in fact, African Union needs to be dissolved. They are wasting budget from the member state for no good reason. Then if you put CEMAC zone, these ones are their neighbors. Equatorial Guinea, Gabon, Congo. Look at their governance system. A system of dictatorial and hegemony that puts into place monarchy. What do you expect from them? So Nigeria would have even had their houses on fire. So they struggle everywhere. So at the end of it, Ghana would have even had. Now one part of Togoland wants to go away. So there is trouble everywhere. At the end of it, I begin to see even that Mr. Ibako has a point, because all these things are caused by some invisible forces from outside. As I said earlier, Mr. Leo, how do you explain the scenario? If you see the way even our SMA may say, no, send children to school, KUMBA is not safe. I was in Kumba on Friday. The fact that the children go to school in certain attire tells you something is wrong. Kumba, they don't go to school uniforms. I was there, not that I heard. In all the schools I visited, the children are in their certain attire. That already tells you that there's a security challenge because Anglophones don't have the culture Francophones had in those days, where their children could go to school, but they have copied the Anglo-Saxon system and they're now wearing uniforms. So how is it that in Kumba, uniforms are not even there? And then worst of it is that all the government schools collect PTA. 19,000, lycée is 21,000 for all students, for new students, 19,000 for new students. They just combine, say pay 19,000, pay 21,000. They don't even tell you whether PTA is how much. When the fee tells you first cycle is 7.5, second cycle is 10. And some schools are collecting 20,000, others 25,000 for PTA. When parents are vulnerable wanting to go to school, you still make a system difficult for them. Yaoundé is confused. It's a kangaroo system. The only thing we are taking now is that when it's happening there in Kumba, if politicians are honest with themselves, they should forget about this marching. They're talking about marching and making statements. I've seen them on social media. We condemn. No, it's not a matter of we condemn. I saw politicians in Kumba on Sunday. They were on the streets, mayors and all the like. When killings happened in Garbu, did they speak? The very shootings of people, even in Moroka, did they speak? Even the poor girl who was killed with a knife in Moroka, did they cough? So they want to tell us now they want to love the children more than Carolinians. Come on, Mr. Leo. When we put politics in this thing, will spoil the whole issue.
Yeah, but they say better be late than never now.
If they are late, I want to hear them take street protests from tomorrow. Yaoundé, please solve this problem. They'll be making sense. The moment they keep gallivanting, Mr. Leo, where we are, you don't know, you can get even worse other attacks in the days ahead. Nobody can tell. Whoever knew that this thing would happen. And I told a government official the other day, he's listening to me now. I told that government official that the fact that you don't hear guns does not mean that the thing has subsided. Okay. It can be a change of tactic because
how do we understand that it is only the education industry that is pressed on by those who don't want activities to move on, when we know that drivers are working, business people are going about? Why only education? How do we understand that?
I want to think that the Ambazonians, the separatists, lost it completely when they hold education hostage. No country, for no reason, should they ever hold an education of a people, not to talk of children, hostage. I have always told them this: if truly you are for us, keep your children at home for just 1 week in solidarity with the children in the Northwest and Southwest regions who are not going to school. And then we will believe you that truly you mean what you're saying. But you cannot ask children in these English-speaking regions not to go to school while your own children are going to school. And then at the end of the day, you post pictures of your children's graduations online, then stupefying us. To me, they want to come in with anarchy. They want to come in with anarchy. And I don't even blame them again, because the Minister of Basic and Secondary Education are just like ornaments in the house. With all the attacks on education, they still find it comfortable. They find it normal. They accept and they sit quiet. They are ornaments in the house. What will an ordinary teacher do? How do teachers get motivated to bear the risk and go to school? The few who are courageous to go to school are attacked. I cannot tell the number of teachers who have been attacked, who have paid ransom, who have gone through shit. And yet the ministers are there very comfortable. Then we are told, we complain of Biya and his government. They are bound to be slow. They're a bunch of old people. Old people, in fact, grandparents who are supposed to be resting peacefully in their homes and not rushing up and down with the pressure of the country. We have so many dynamic and young people out there with innovative ideas who could be made ministers in this country, who could be given positions of responsibility. Mm-hmm. But again, he has decided to carry his old age mates to come and spoil things. He is old, probably suffering from dementia. He doesn't reason, because no reasonable president will sit and see this horror go on. And he has carried his friends who have dementia like him to continue guiding us. What are they deceiving?
Pastor Bear.
Real doom.
Pastor Bear. Those words were very, very harsh, and no, please, thank you. Valentine from Bomenda, good evening, Mr. Liu. I love your program. Now it's Kumba. Who knows which place is next? I'm really scared. Hello, Mr. Liu. The problem in Anglophone Cameroon is the problem that will bring down Cameroon. That's what our parliamentarians said in parliament. These are the effects of not taking issues serious. Venue, also writing from Bamenda. My name is Bright Gentle, and I think this Anglophone crisis is becoming out of hands. This one says, the socio-political crisis in Kumba now is a displaced priority. The women and children have been caged between the two parties. It's only in Cameroon that children and suffering mothers have no place. Do need a sorcerer to dictate the solution. The blame game is now cancerous. The international bodies have made the agenda clear. The problem and solution is Cameroonians. The perpetual and persistent peaceful demonstrations until our plights are met. We vehemently denounce these barbaric acts in all dimensions. Shengan Richard, President of the Association of Family Welfare and Development, Faweda Kumba, in alliance with Alcohol and Drug Prevention team. Mr. Shengan, okay, it's our colleague in Kumba. Good evening to you. SM. Anglophones did their part to cry foul play in this country, and today they are paying the price. Let the Francophones take it from there. Okay, Awa is writing from Bomenda. The government is saying Mother Francisca International Bilingual Academic did not have security because the school wasn't duly registered. My question is, what about government practicing school Kumbambeng in Kumba here, which has no security at the school? Okay. Good evening, Mr. Liu and the panelists. I just want to say the blood of the innocent will rise up and cry for justice on the perpetrators of these gruesome acts. Paulo is writing from Douala. Cannot read. Okay, Atemebako, after the plethora condemnations from across the globe, what next? What should follow? Cameroonians should sit down and solve their issues.
Mr. Liu, since they have decided to use the population of the youths to achieve their political game and fame, you see 80% of the youth population in Cameroon today were not born when some of these politicians took power. And I will assume that they are their great-grandfather, grandfathers, and fathers, who I feel that should be the ones to defend the future of these youths, which makes the majority in Cameroon. I gave a statistics on the population before this crisis began in the northwest and southwest were 5 million. 2.3 million have been dispersed, 600,000 have been internally displaced, thousands have been killed. We have about 1.7 million persons residing now in the northwest and southwest. The question here is that, must we all die? Has it become a cult? Or are we still talking of independence? You see, when you see evil has come to broad daylight, I don't think that it is a moment where we begin to call on the government or on the elites to talk something about it. I think that this is a time where not only the population of Cameroon and the population of those two regions, also the church is supposed to come out and denounce and make certain declarations on these individuals. You see, if you have decided that we should die, it is our decision today, Mr. Liu, that they will die. We will not keep losing children. We will not keep sacrificing the youth population of our future generation. If these people, whether they be in the diaspora, whether they be in the government, I am saying this openly to all Cameroonians, they will be the one to die. We don't need to pick up arms as they have arms, thinking that they have monopoly over life. They don't have monopoly over life. We only need to come together and have a single and a common judgment. What should be the fate of this individual? And it is going to be what we decide. You will not kill somebody and you think it's a joke. And you think that in the name of revolution, life is moving on. A time is now when, Mr. Leo, these men will face the judgment and they will die if they have decided others should die. And whether the investigations come out to point out who or not, the decision that the Cameroonians and the people of the Northwest and Southwest have taken is that the blood of these children will not go unanswered, and the people who are behind this will certainly face the consequences. Now, we look at here, like I was just trying to put some issues here in place, why it's in the hands of Cameroonians to take the lead, to understand that they must be the ones to charter their own future and have the right to self-determination. I remember in 2010-11 when Ouattara was brought into Ivory Coast to do the revaluation, to review the devaluation of the CFA, whereby France was making $48 million a month from the French CFA. Coming down to the colonial tax, which France makes 500 billion CFA as taxes that we pay every year to France. That simply tells you that if Cameroonians are still talking about party politics, a new government, whether Anglophone should be the president in Cameroon, is going to bring a change. As long as we don't have authority over our own destiny, you can have freedom, but someone decides where your future will be like. So, Mr. Leo, I will end this by saying that before these men decided that school should go on, I'm talking of the separatist fighters, they should have agreed at a certain level with the government to offer and ensure these children a level of security in those schools. You cannot say children should go to school, and the children go to school, and armed men come and kill the children. Where is the place of the government? Where is the place of the separatist fighter who says school should resume? That's why I say it was not good enough to just say school should resume, because that could have been a trap. This should have taken more than just saying school should resume, Mr. Leo. Cameroonians, this is our country, and we are not going to work for anybody. We are not going to mortgage the life of our children for some people who have interest, who are in occult society and are seeking for blood. Mr. Leo, if they want war, we are going to give them war. What is the problem? I see pastors and men of God casting demons in churches, and they tell me that these men are darkness. If they have come to the light, we will cast them back and send them where they belong to. It's as simple as that.
It's a two-way traffic, not one.
Good evening to you all in the studio. What happened in KUMBA was a well-planned move, and whereas was okay when the incident occurred. Balak is writing from Limbe. Please, if you write any message that is long, I won't be able to read them because they are more than. Hello, Mr. Liu. Please, we need Mr. Campto to visit the site of the incident to prove that he is willing to bring peace to this nation. We have nowhere to go to run to. Ngu Paul Ngong is writing from KUMBA. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm Simon Liunga writing from Boya. This house should we are the children of our this house should we are the children of where are the children of our ministers, governors, SDOs, mayors and chiefs? They are playing politics with peoples in Cameroon. Okay. Good evening, the time Cameroonians. What we think is right is that we should think of doing the right things. Bring people who are to run or rule a region to stand for their people. Like, for example, a Southwest Sena should rule the Southwest. We are watching from Boya now, okay? Good evening to the panelists. I also condemn the methods international community is using to solve this crisis. I'm Edwin, writing from Kong Samba. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Just want to say I'm enjoying the program, but what I want to say concerning KUMBA more is this coming if care is not taken. Okay, Muyuka insistent as their message is not clear. Tanfen Felix, writing from Kumbu, says, "Good evening, Mr. Liu. Something needs to be done by the powers that be, and fast, because we don't know which town is next." Okay, Mr. Liu, please tell the authorities to stop marching. They can't be marching and things are not changing. They should stop the crisis and sell the country to Rwanda. Okay, it's writing from Kumba. Good evening, Mr. Kum and dear panelists. I'm Nathan from Bamenda. I condemn the killings in strongest terms, regardless of who is responsible. But I'm worried when a panelist is requesting for a state of emergency. We in Anglophone Cameroon are already going through a lot. Okay. Good evening. The love of power has eaten the conscience of all Cameroonians, given the opportunity to represent the people. One of Limbe. Okay, good evening to you too. Good evening, Mr. Leonard. Thanks for the program. What I know is that government is okay. What happened? Okay, Mr. Fa, you are right. Oops. What the Cameroon government is doing is not good. How can we ask children to go to school and not able to protect them? Buma Clivet is writing from Douala. Good evening to you, Boma. Mr. Liu, there should be an uprising in this country. Henry is writing from Kumba. Oops. Good evening, Mr. Kum. It's Nganyu Kingsley from Bamenda. They will pay one of us to kill one of us just to say that it was one of us. That one is serious. Dr. Nick, we are bleeding, crying everywhere. What should be done next?
Yeah, I think this is the most important thing to work on now. What exactly do we do to get this not to happen again, and to heal the land so that we all move forward? Now, I think, first things first, I think we need a new government so that we have a new mindset in place. We need a new government. Number 2, we need a ceasefire. Number 3, we need a true, inclusive, genuine dialogue in love, where people come to the table and then talk, and then everybody is part of it. Nobody is excluded, and it's a dialogue over the West Cameroon, East Cameroon problem. It's not a dialogue again where they will carry people from Marwa over and come and fill the whole place to confuse people. No, the agenda is very clear, and one thing on the table: the form of state. And that form of state, what will come out will be confederation. Then we need a Truth and Reconciliation Commission. We need that. And whatever decisions are arrived at the truth, at the dialogue, should be implemented immediately. And once we have done all of this, we need to change the educational system in our country so that, because, watch me, what we are calling education in Cameroon, be it Anglophone or Francophone education, is no use. It's really no use. We need to copy the educational system I'll keep saying it, in South Korea, in Malaysia, in Singapore, and in Finland, because the education we have now has no technology. And it's really outdated. It has no technology, and the white man gave us that one so that he can come and be stealing our resources. And how do we know that it's worthless? Because we have so many schools, so many degrees, MSc, PhD, but we cannot feed ourselves. So if your school was doing well, why are children always at the US Embassy at 4 a.m.? Why are they dying in the Mediterranean Sea? Something is wrong. We don't know how to create wealth. We don't understand problems. We don't know how to solve problems. We need to correct our educational system. Otherwise, we are going nowhere. That's my that's what I have to say.
Yes. How do we heal the land?
Mr. Kum, healing the land is a very, very important thing to talk about because it's a solution. And one of the solutions also we propose is the government should first of all take its responsibility as the head. Meaning, the resolutions of the Grand National Dialogue which many people did not appreciate, haven't even been implemented. Like the special status they promised the Anglophones. Nothing has been done to even appease the minds of many. Nothing was done. Secondly, the government should organize a rapid parliamentary talk to sit down and talk of the Anglophone problems, inclusive, just the Anglophone problems, an emergency meeting of all the parliamentarians to come down, sit down, table out the problems, look for solutions. And us in the CPNRU, we still propose that the population should rise up as one mouth. Francophone or Anglophone, we are one Cameroon. There is no, I am a Francophone or I am an Anglophone. We are all Cameroonians. Francophones Francophones, as we call them, normally there was supposed to be an announcement because we saw children on Monday going to school. Meanwhile, those in KUMBA are mourning. They were supposed to organize meetings with students to cry and mourn their brothers who died in KUMBA. But nothing has been done. So we propose that the population should also start to fight for their own future by rising up like one person. Because let me tell you, many of us know where and the causes, where these people are hiding, because they are members of our families. We know them, but we are afraid to denounce them.
Okay.
We know where they are. We are afraid to denounce them.
We know where they are.
Let us start by denouncing them, be they our brothers or our sister, because at the end they will turn and kill us.
Mm-hmm.
We should rise up and speak out like one person. The government, on the other hand, should organize a parliamentary meeting to better talk on the Anglophone problems, bring solutions. The window dressing of the Grand National Dialogue should be implemented. They should start decentralization. They should start implementing them to appease us, to tell us, okay, let us do the window dressing, but nothing has been done.
Regional elections are coming and you are taking
Regional elections are coming. Yes, I'm a candidate in the Vuri.
Mm-hmm.
But let me tell you, Mr. Leo, Mr. Kom.
You already know the result?
It's a window dressing.
Okay, good evening, Leo and the crew on board. I think the reason why Anglophone politicians are unable to talk is because they have been able to master table manners. You know very well that when you are eating, you don't talk. So I expect none of them to talk. Thanks, Professor Mark and Tony, watching us from somewhere in Douala. Yes, what should be the way forward?
The way forward will be a little bit different from what my co-panelist from PCRN just said.
Mm-hmm.
Gathering parliamentarians is a kangaroo house. They don't have in fact, nothing will come out from those very people. If you want to use the very people now, there, when the Anglophone crisis is going on, they will not offer you a dime of a solution. Therefore, the important thing to do, if you want to solve this thing, is that Parliament dissolve, Senate dissolve. We are beginning a new Cameroon. If you don't think that, you are wasting your time. Parliament, I said dissolve. They go home. We buy you the sachet. Go and dress your house with it. We are one-time parliamentarian. Senators, dissolve. Go home. Go and put it in your house. And besides, I want a senator. You begin to bring new minds. When I see Dr. Nick talk every day, I ask myself, it's all well in Yaoundé. These are the kind of people we would have needed to be in the think tank sector. If I hear today he's a minister of innovation or whatever, I'll go and sleep. Because tomorrow I'll just hear that this thing is happening in my backyard. I'll hear there's a mineral behind in Gunoko. Why I never knew there was a mineral. These are the kind of persons we need. I don't know, I never knew there's a good brain even in the CPDM. Because I know the whole issue was just zero. Point number 2, after dissolving Senate and National Assembly, when you dissolve, I don't think that someone will still be staying there. Dr. Nick talk about a new government. No. The entire system from a 2D, down, go home, go and leave. It means that a temporal, not put in place by somebody else. Yaoundé should admit that they have failed. Yaoundé should be the one to put in place a transitional government. Yaoundé, a 2D. And put in place means that they should ask the people, who are the people you want to be something. You look at credible people, put them in transitional. Let them take things for about, what is 3 years or so after they organize the country, then a good democratic system comes on. While they are doing that, they'll be solving the Anglophone crisis. That's the simple thing we can do. The moment anybody is dreaming, that's something good can come from Yaoundé. It's a daydreamer. But I should be thinking that the other thing to do to solve this issue is that if we would have had proactive members of government. Today is Monday. And for the fact that the minister have even refused to go there on Monday, means have endorsed even go stamp. They have endorsed. They escaped Monday. They want to go to KUMBA, but on Tuesday. All right. You people have endorsed Monday too.
Okay. Shibel, what should be the solution that the civil society should bring to what is ongoing now?
Before I go to the solution, I want to make a quick correction or a reminder. The teachers actually started their crisis. They had a crisis on the 21st of November, 2016. And the teachers going on this strike was not to pause the education for 4 years, because people are misinterpreting the teachers' strike action. Teachers went on strike so that certain things should be corrected. The English subsystem of education is at 0. Like Dr. Ngwanya rightly says, it is at 0. Our curriculum is a whole mess. We are doing that old time generation kind of education, which has no value to our children. So, for people to accuse teachers for holding on to education or putting education on pause, that is a lie. Teachers had a problem. The problem hasn't even been solved yet. But again, separatists took advantage of it and held on to it by giving firm instructions that any child who goes to school should be attacked. We know the videos, we've watched them, we've listened to them over and over. They've repeated it over and over, and the actions became reality. And this is the outcome of Saturday, where young children's brains were blew off. No teacher did that. So let's stop blaming teachers for going on strike in the first place. Unless you want to tell me that we are joining the government to tell the entire world that Cameroon is one crazy country. Way forward. 1, government should call for a ceasefire. 2, government should call for a meaningful and inclusive dialogue in consultation with civil society organizations. The civil society space in Cameroon has been swallowed up by the government. You would never hear any firm decision taken with in accordance with civil society organizations. So the Cameroon government, we do not exist. And finally, the civil society of Cameroon should learn to come together. They can from today come together as one strong body and take the decision which will favor and put an end to this crisis.
Okay. Anyway, we take exceptions to any description of any leader of this country as having dementia. Actually, it is yes, we take exception to that statement. What should be the way forward?
Mr. Leo, what should be the way forward is that Cameroonians must seek for sovereignty, 1. Number 2, the problem in Cameroon is a system. It is a system and it's not persons. It is a system which is put in place by the colonial master. And until the Africans and Cameroonians also understand that democracy has not even worked for the Western nation, and the people who propagate democracy that is actually destabilizing our system today do not practice democracy. It was in 2000 when George Bush was elected, he stole 400,000 votes in America. So democracy in Mali for 25 years has not worked for the Malians. And so they decided to charter and to regain their own sovereignty and decide their own future. So what we need in Cameroon is that we need Cameroonians to come together. built-in solidarity platform network like what we saw in Belarus. What took out hundreds of thousands of people on the street was through social media solidarity platforms that was created behind the scene where the government did not see. And before you realize, you meet thousands of people on the street where no military can crack down. And that is EU, that is the UN posing sanctions on the president and his administration, because at the end of the day, he must come down. So this is what we need in Cameroon. And thirdly or secondly, I would say that these killings which are happening in those two regions, this is evil and is occultic. Let the church leaders come out and begin to make declarations over these demonic entities that are roaming our streets. We don't need to cast out demons on women who sell tomatoes in the market, Mr. Liu. These are live demons that have left hell and are not afraid of the light. So let the watchers of men come out and take decree and decision on the fate of these men. I am telling you that these men don't have monopoly over life, Mr. Liu. Nobody is afraid of death, because at the end of the day, death awaits many men. And some men are looking for death for occasions that will offer them a beautiful death. But we want to make these men, whether from the government or whether from the separatist fighters, the death of these children will never go unanswered.
Okay,
that is it.
We want to say thank you to you for coming. Doctor.
Thank you very much. I understand some feelings were kind of like hard on this platform. I think it's just because of the frustrations that everyone is going through. And we look forward to better days. And we think that what happened in Kumba should be the last. And we just pray that God will be on our side. And this worship of the devil in this country has to stop. And those guys in America, please be very careful. You tell a lot of lies. You have led a lot of people into a lot of difficulties. And there will be a time to reckon. Thank you.
Thank you, Akwen, for coming.
Yona, thank you to all the co-panelists here today. My last message to all those watching is, I want everybody, all Cameroonians, north, west, south, east, wherever you are, rise up like one man. Denounce what is happening. When I mean rise up, I do not mean go on the streets. I mean put pressure. There are many ways to put pressure on the government to end the Anglophone crisis, because only the government can end this crisis. The both parties should come to a compromise. The both parties should come to a dialogue that can better table out facilities to end the Anglophone crisis. So us in the CPNRU, we say the government is responsible. Only the government can end the Anglophone crisis, because we know only you as the leader of our country. We do not know the separatist fighters. We call you to take your responsibility as the leader and end the Anglophone crisis. Thank you.
And also to you, Fa Evistayong, thank you for coming.
Well, thanks very much. I will always try my best to be there. But the main point is that the common characteristics of what we study under conflict resolution is that after any war, there is judgment. Leaders who think that they are too powerful now, whether you are a general or you are an SDO or you are a governor, it's a matter of time. On both sides, we will stand at the dock. They begin to bring the crimes of gruesome killings and begin to answer questions. Anybody does not do his own part. If you think that you'll be arrogant to the people you are supposed to serve and not to lead or not to instruct, when the time comes, what happened this day? What happened this way? Colonel, commander, this and that, what happened? You were quiet. That is when they will understand the time of reckoning is not very far from now. Man is precious. The clock is ticking.
Okay, Pashibel, we are equally very happy to have had you today.
My pleasure, and thank you for inviting me. My last word is government should grant clemency to the English-speaking Cameroonians who are locked up in Kondengi, if they really want peace to return. And dialogue, meaningful dialogue, is the way out.
Okay. Yeah, and also to you, Andre Natemebako. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much, Mr. Leo. As we continue to go out every day to make ends meet, that is how we are supposed to go out and make ends meet for our nation, Mr. Leo. And the government is tired. We should also help them to send them to sleep. I think that if the population rise up in this country, it will also be it will be in the favor of the government to see that someone has stood up to help them. We are not going out for violence. We are going out to stand up for our rights.
Okay, we want to thank the production team, Desmond and Christian and Eli, and those at the broadcasting. We say thank you to all of you who sent thousands of messages. I want to thank everybody who watched the program. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.